Welcome to the Autoimmune Babe podcast. I have someone very special on the podcast today that we met at a women's in business function. And I'm so excited for you guys to get to know her, to learn her knowledge, her expertise, and really just dive into motherhood and taking control of your health in a way that is truly powerful and life-changing. Kelly Springer, welcome
Thank you.
to the podcast. And you had such a beautiful opportunity to start a relationship and get to know each other. So just thank you again for being on this podcast and just sharing your knowledge with everybody. But do you want to just introduce yourself before we dive in today?
I am Kelly Springer, a registered dietitian and owner of Kelly's Choice, which is a nutrition company. We contract and employ dietitians across the US. So when we met, we were really discussing the things that went wrong or right. So I've been in business for almost 13 years, and it's been quite a roller coaster of a ride to really think about that. I had little kids when I started this company, and now, they're going off on their own, which is really exciting to see. But when we met, I think I really connected with you to say, like, how could I have done things better if I had had a mentor to help me through it?
Absolutely. Having someone who understands where you're at is such a blessing and a game changer. And it has been. And so I'm so excited for us to really dive into this element of motherhood when it comes to health in particular, because my goodness, there is so much out there when it comes to bouncing back and weight loss. And now, more on the scene is GLP-1 medications and how they kind of come into the mix. And I know that you just released a book. And so we're going to be kind of highlighting some of these topics within your book. So my first question I have for you is a hot topic, and it's about GLP-1 medications. And so, especially when it comes to moms, let's say they're, a year after having a baby, or maybe they're having trouble losing that baby weight. So often, I feel like especially in 2025, it's like, oh, if it doesn't work, get on a GLP-1 medication. How do these medications impact specifically mothers on this journey of healthy, sustainable weight loss? And are they a resource, or are they actually keeping women stuck?
Well, it is a big topic. And I always say, this is a personal decision between you and your doctor. As the registered dietitian, I'm here to support whatever decision you make. So where I come from is in the world of bariatrics. So I started at 21 years old, looking at people that were just like, what do I do? I've gone so far, I don't know, how to change this. So surgery at that time was the only thing that was available for people that were, above that BMI of 30 or above the BMI of 40 at that point. So I watched the journey. I watched what happened. And when people didn't have support from the dietitian, they weren't successful long term. And I see the same exact thing with this Ozempic or Mounjaro or whatever you want to say, any of the GLP-1s. I still truly believe that if nutrition education is partnered in with weight loss and with these conversations, people then will understand the why, the how, the when of how to put nutrition into their lives. And it will help their entire mental health. It will help them to teach their children how to put meals together. I mean, it's going to help on so many levels that they don't even understand until they go through it.
100%. I couldn't agree more. This is when we're talking about the impact of the medication, it's a part of the equation. It's not the full equation. And the biggest thing is getting the support in your corner so that you can not only get the most benefit from these GLP-1 medications, but like you said before, oh my gosh, the impact of being a healthy mom impacts your whole world, your family. And
Right.
that is the legacy shift that health can provide.
That's right. That is exactly right. And so if you're learning yourself, it's going to be the ripple effect. It's going to actually affect your kids. You're going to be a role model for your children and putting those practices in place. So people, we have a program called the Transformation Program that we put together with the book. And people will say like, can you do a talk on diabetes or on GLP-1s or on, I'm like, listen, it is actually the same information across the board. So you could call it a diabetes program, a new mom program, a GLP-1 program. It's truly just breaking down nutrition into what are carbohydrates, what is protein, what is, meal planning, and how to put that together.
Yes, that is so good because it's really understanding the basics and then how to implement them.
Yeah,
Right? It's
exactly.
people want this like miracle situation or like this miracle solution. Is like, but do you actually understand the basics and how to implement those?
Right.
Because no miracle supplement is going to make it a huge impact if the basics and the fundamentals aren't in place.
Well, and I think so. The book is called The New Weight Loss Era. And we called it that because weight loss is not new. We've been talking about weight loss for a really long time. And now that the GLP-1s are on the trend here, also teaching people that your body will naturally make GLP-1 hormone if you eat fiber and protein. This again, we kind of go back to the basics to just understand how the human body works.
Yeah,
So if we're eating fiber and protein, it triggers that hormone, triggers the brain. We are now full, we are satisfied because the body's getting what it needs. And
absolutely.
so again, it goes back to the education where I feel like we have greatly lacked. We do not get nutrition education in school. And as adults, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so good. And speaking of nutrition education, one thing that I see often from clients just in the weight loss space is this obsession with appetite suppression and it being like, okay, well, if I eat less, then we're going to lose weight, which is, yeah, if you eat very, very little, right, naturally you are going to lose weight. But what is actually the impact of that? And that's where I feel like with GLP-1s, the whole equation isn't there with just the medication because so many people will experience that appetite suppression and actually not know how to fuel their body with this side effect. And so can you talk to a little bit about that?
Yes, deficiencies are going to be a huge problem, and I'm already seeing that they're being a huge problem.
Yeah.
So I was doing a talk out at Lawrence University in Wisconsin. This was probably almost probably 9 months ago. And it was the aha moment. So I got stuck there. My plane got canceled and I went shopping in their local mall and I was checking out and I just got talking to the cashier because I had nothing else to do. So she's talking to me and she's talking to me about GLP-1s. And she's like, yeah, they're fantastic. And she goes, all I have to do is go to McDonald's and I eat a small fry every day and I'm totally satisfied. So in that moment, I wasn't there to be her educator, her dietitian, her anything. I was just there to like take that in,
Yeah.
not give her like, holy crap, like that's not good. Like I just was letting it settle. But I think
Yeah.
understanding that the suppressant is so great that she does not feel hunger. And so therefore, that's a problem. Our bodies have to run. They have to fuel ourselves, to fuel our brains, our hearts, our organs for cell redevelopment. I mean, there's just so much going on. And
Yeah.
if we're truly going into starvation mode and then just putting a French fry in, we're really going to see major deficiencies.
Absolutely. And can you speak to why are deficiencies so important? Because I know that when I talk about deficiencies, when it comes to autoimmune health, it doesn't really land. It's like, oh, I hear you, but like, what does that actually mean for somebody who is on a GLP-1 medication or had any type of weight loss surgery or is on just a weight loss healing journey in general? And when it comes to nutrition deficiencies, how can this actually make all the difference?
Let's talk about iron. Okay, just
Yeah.
one thing. One thing. We could talk about literally B12, we talk about protein, we could literally talk about, let's just talk
Yeah.
about iron. Okay.
Hmm.
Iron can come from different sources. It can come from your green leafy vegetables, it can come from red meat, it can come from different sources. Iron is how we make hemoglobin, which is basically the center of our red blood cell.
Hmm.
Iron helps to make that, and that attaches to oxygen, carries the oxygen around our body. If we are iron deficient, we can't make those red blood cells. We can't carry oxygen. So
Yeah.
when you break things down again into the high, the what, or the how, the what, the why, now we understand why we need iron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like that's just
Yeah.
one little
One out of
one.
hundreds of vitamins and minerals. And like, I think about circulation, right? And when we're talking about muscle strength and how this is being able to carry your toddler around. This
Yeah.
is you carrying up the laundry upstairs. This is you going on a hike this summer or having the capacity to go on a plane for your family reunion. Circulation is fundamental when it comes
Yeah.
to your physical health and even your mental clarity.
Right.
So many people, so many women, especially mothers, struggle with like fatigue and brain fog. And it's like, this actually might be a circulation issue that your brain is not getting the nutrients it needs because iron, one of the hundreds of minerals, might not be where it needs to be.
Yes, you are right. And I also think so at Kelly's Choice, our tagline for literally the entire time, almost 13 years, has been real people promoting real food.
Yeah.
So when you think about a real food, like we talked about, for instance, red meat, okay, let's just talk about like a tenderloin or something.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, I cut that out because it's bad for you. Okay, well, this goes into, again, more education on saturated fat versus lean and whatever. But we just take that one product. Let's say we're having a 95 round beef hamburger, very, very lean. It's loaded with, guess what? Iron, B vitamins, protein. It's perfectly packaged to not just be iron, but we're packaging it together with other things that are going to help our muscle and our body and our metabolism and everything else work. And so this is where we take like the incredible edible egg, right? The egg is perfectly packaged to have the protein, vitamin D, vitamin E, the little bit of fat to help those absorb. So this is where when we think about real food items, not just taking iron supplements, but when we think about real food items that are perfectly packaged in nature to have these different components. And that's where I think we also, like if someone watching this would be like, oh, I'll start taking iron. Just don't start taking iron. Where's your
Yeah.
iron level? What are you supposed to have? What is your diet right now? And then how can we package this together to get the optimal nutrition?
Absolutely. If I could retweet what you just said, I would, because you're so right. So often people are like, "Oh, I'll just supplement with iron." And it's not the only thing.
Only
And
thing.
isolated supplements can be really helpful when there is isolated deficiencies. But when
Right.
we're talking about starvation mode, you can't supplement yourself out of starvation mode. And so my question is, when we're talking about weight loss journeys, whether we're, GLP-1 medications could be a part of the mix or not, what is a great place to start so that you set your body up for success, both nutritionally and energetically?
So what I used to do wrong when I first started as a dietitian in private practice, I would do a nutrition dump on everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just way too much information. So the way that we're breaking this up, and again, like in the book or if working with our dietitians, the way that we break it up is in segments. So I recommend working with someone who truly, and this is where we were just talking on our podcast before this, I love that you said partnerships with clients. We really develop a relationship and we are teaching for them. For instance, we go through basically that same journey, right? From carbohydrates to proteins to fats to meal planning, whatever. But it is very precise for them. When is your work schedule? What are you doing? Who are you feeding in your house? Is it just you? Do you cook? Is it a family? And so each lesson, yes, we're going to focus on carbs and fiber and what that looks like. But each week, you're going to get a nugget to move to the next week, into the next and next and next. It's a true journey. So what I always tell people is that you can't change everything in a day, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. Nutrition, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. So if you can go through this journey, take the time to go through kind of like a 12-step, that you'll learn what to do for your body. So let's focus on fiber this week, put that into practice. Let's focus on how much protein, are you coming in vegan or are you coming in like what? Let's focus on that and then let's move to the next. But each little bit is going to help lead you down that road.
I love that so much. And the reason why I say that is because you're taking into consideration the entire person that you're working with. That
Right.
partnership is, are you a mom of toddlers or teens? That one factor alone can be such a huge difference.
Right.
And that we were talking on the podcast before about capacity. And you're mentioning how it's like, okay, one little nugget every week. And if there's a shortcut, that's the shortcut for success, is considering your capacity and then building it up from there.
Right.
It's a skill to know how to support your health in a way that's foundational. And I think that what you just described was such good wisdom on how to do that, taking into consideration what is healthy for you, where your body is
Right.
at, what does healthy even look like for you? What do you want out of this journey? So
Right.
many people are like, okay, I just want to be a certain gene size, or I just want to, have this summit of a goal, right? And it's like, okay, but what does that actually look like for you? I want my A1C to be a certain number. Okay, well, who is this person who gets that A1C? And how can we help you get there?
There.
And so that's so, so good. So brilliant.
It works. Honestly,
Hmm.
we've been using this program for 9 years, and it started because my mentor, Cindy DeBold, she's like, you're always talking about these different parts and different things. What if we put this together in a program? And honestly, it has been the best thing we have ever done. And we take groups through this program in the way of like worksite wellness. We do it individually. And it works on both spectrums. Like definitely the one-on-one, you're going to get more personalized nutrition.
Of course.
We can review labs and we can, work with your physician to go through all of that.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're just playing guessing games when it
Right.
comes to your health. And things like healing doesn't happen by accident. It happens when there's strategy involved. Something that I wanted to speak to, because with being 9 months pregnant, I just feel like my FYP has found itself in this dialogue of like the bounce back era.
Huh.
And everyone has like their own perception and their own goals. And so I just wanted to ask you as a professional, like your thoughts on this bouncing back after pregnancy or that post mom glow up. What are your thoughts on this? And
Yeah.
yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay. So I was one of the first of my friends to have children. So I was
Hmm.
25. It wasn't like I was that young, but I
Yeah.
was one of the first. And no one talks to you about that you are going to be healing. There's a lot going on right after the pregnancy that I don't think anyone talks about. And I think
Huge.
and that's what we talked about when I was talking with you and helping to mentor you,
Yeah.
having a plan in place is going to be huge about
Hmm.
who's cooking, what are you eating, what is going on, because I didn't realize I would be bleeding and couldn't leave the house to go to the store. No one talked about that. And my husband went back to work. He was like, bye.
Hmm.
So I was there with this newborn bleeding, all swollen. I found it really difficult to get to the store, to cook the food, to do all of that. And I think talking about that, what does that plan look like? Now, today, there's Instacart, there's, different things that we can utilize, which back then we didn't have. My daughter's 20 years old now. But this is what is the plan? How are you going to feed yourself? How are you going to do that? Because I think that feeding and healing is going to be the number one thing you need to focus on. And if
Yeah.
you do that, the weight will come off. Like it will. But if you are just living on Pop Tarts, like that's not feeding the baby. That's not helping you. You're not being able to heal. And
Yeah.
you might have a harder time with that weight loss. So, anyway, that's my
So
whole.
good. When you gave me that piece of advice, and we'll almost like end it on that because my goodness, when you told me that advice, I literally left your office, called my husband immediately, and I was like, we need to plan
Plan.
together. We need to see, hey, what is your work schedule like? What does
Right.
my maternity leave look like? What are these priorities? And how can we plan for success? And
Right.
so that is such a huge element from what I've seen. I'm a first time mom, so I'm going through this for the first time, but that emotional support system
Right.
is incredible. And then understanding that you're healing and being gentle with yourself
Healing.
and meeting yourself where you're at and knowing, hey, you're feeding a baby and you're healing and
Healing.
you're
Yes.
in this new territory. So taking things one step at a time and knowing that when you're nurturing yourself in the process, you're actually helping that overflow, whether it's, improving the nutrient quality of your breast milk, if you're deciding to breastfeed, to again, also healing your body slowly but surely at the pace that it needs to heal, which is beautiful.
Agree.
So, so good.
Agree. So be kind to yourself, get good rest, get good food, put that plan in place, and I'm so excited for you, by the way.
Thank you.
I love being a mom.
It's so powerful to be surrounded by women who love motherhood
I
and
love,
who have
love,
evolved in this season in their greatness. And you're such a beautiful representation of that. Like the relationship that you have with your daughters and like how confident they are. It's just such it's proof that it's possible
It is.
to become the best version of yourself while also being a mother and being a present mother at that. Thank you just so much for sharing your wisdom. And for anybody who wants to learn more from you or to connect with you for weight loss support, or if they are interested in, GLP-1 medications and really completing that equation, where can people find you?
So go to kellyschoice.org. That's where you can book a dietitian. It's all information. LinkedIn is a great one. You can look at Kelly's Choice, look up Kelly Springer Dietitian or RD. And then definitely the book is on Amazon. It's called The New Weight Loss Era. And it's on Audible and it's also in the book form. So lots of different ways to get the information. And we look forward to working with you. And thank you for having me on. And congratulations.
Thank you. Of course, anytime. We'll have to do this again soon. Thanks. I hope that this podcast was helpful for you. Make sure that if you haven't already, since this is a new podcast when it comes to YouTube, make sure if you haven't already to subscribe to this channel. We release podcasts every Tuesday. And if you know someone who has a connective tissue condition like scleroderma, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and more, feel free to share this episode with them. The truth is that hope is not very common when it comes to these types of diagnoses. And you never know how profound and powerful this message could be to someone who deeply, deeply needs it. I'll see you next time. Bye.